The following is a sponsored program. High Desert Broadcasting is not responsible for the views or claims expressed in this program.
Good morning. You're listening to AVNewsCast.com on NewsTalk 1380.
And we are just pushing through the week, aren't we?
Oh, man.
Just pushing through the week.
It seems like lightning, and it seems like forever at the same time.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. We love doing this show. Yesterday, Richard Stein was in court.
Oh.
Okay. So he was in court yesterday, and if people don't know, he is the convicted sex offender that attempted to grab that girl on Palmdale Boulevard last Friday.
Just to get directions.
Right, that's... Yeah. So he did not enter a plea yesterday, but his charges were announced yesterday by the judge. And he was charged with 1 count of kidnapping to commit rape, 1 count of kidnapping to commit robbery, and an assault with intent to commit rape.
They don't know that.
Okay, so...
Yeah, they weren't in his head. How could they do that?
Should he be found guilty?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Should he be found guilty?
When he's found guilty?
Oh.
Richard Stein faces a maximum prison sentence of life in prison.
Well, that's what he was looking for, right?
Okay. So
yeah, that's
a
basically
roof
what
over
you're
his
saying.
head.
Well, he did tell me when he called from L.A. County Jail in downtown L.A. And it was interesting that he was arrested on Friday, and rather than being held in Palmdale, he had already been transferred downtown. But that's probably because of the
his background,
his parole.
Yeah.
No bail. But,
Can you see on my face I'm wanting to say something and I'm fighting it?
Yeah,
really hard.
But he did say on the phone when he called from jail that he couldn't take it anymore. And he needed to do something and needed to get caught. He needed medical attention.
A Snicker bar would have got him the same thing.
I understand, but so
he's going to be doing hard Stein time. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, and
you're out of control.
Yeah,
and probably the reason that his arraignment was continued on Monday. Mm-hmm. Until Tuesday was because probably the DA was working on preparing formal charges.
Yeah.
And they just had not been able to package it and gift wrap it.
Right.
So
you want to get your ducks in a row.
Like I said, I think that we're not doing our community a service by not having some kind of formal place for these people to go. If we're going to put them out on the street, I saw something last night on CNN, and for the life of me, the name of the sex offender has lost, but this sex offender was released into public and was homeless. The police picked him up and took him to his grandmother's house, and he was supposed to be under, he was supposed to be in the house at a certain time. His grandmother calls the police and says, "Listen, you guys dropped this boy over here. He's supposed to be in the house after 9 o'clock. He's not here. I want to let you know." She sounded distraught. And he ended up getting picked up for violating his curfew. And when they released him, he went home, raped his grandmother, and killed her. I mean, and when you saw this guy's mugshot, it was like, how do you think that this dude is okay?
Yeah.
So, we as a community, I know we don't want to deal with these sex offenders, but if you don't want to keep them in prison, our beloved justice system, then you better find a spot for them to call home out on the street. Because putting them in our blocks, in our neighborhoods, is killing us. That's ridiculous.
Well, that's been the argument has been that we're driving them out, and that compounds the problem and makes it worse.
Yeah.
That's been the argument.
Why is it our fault? Didn't they drive themselves out?
No, they didn't drive themselves out. They're letting them out.
No, I mean, why is it our fault that they're not accepted by society? Isn't it their fault because of the heinous nature of the crimes they did?
We can't say we're not going to deal with that, because then they become a tiger on the prey, ready to devour every girl on the street. So we can't look at it that way. We do have to take responsibility and say, you know what, we need to have some kind of system for these nutcases.
I understand. Now, it was said the other day on the show that Richard Stein, he could not even go to a homeless shelter or Grace Resource Center because they won't allow him there because he's a registered 296 offender.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Right.
So he's forced to live in the desert.
Right.
Okay? So he has to do that. Now, yesterday, since you're talking about, people who have been in the system, yesterday there was a car chase that began right down here by 7-Eleven in Palmdale.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Parolee at large, who was absconding, was in a stolen vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
While a woman flagged down a sheriff's deputy and said, this guy just tried to hit me.
Mm-hmm.
They pulled him over here by the 7-Eleven, and when the deputy got out of his car and was approaching the parolee that was in the car by the name of Joseph Darling, he took off.
Mm-hmm.
And they ended up in a chase.
Pulled a gun on him.
No, and this guy ends up in a chase. He's on the freeway, hitting the guardrails, hitting the center divider. The guy's way out of control. Then they've got him fairly boxed in.
Mm-hmm.
The front of his car's all messed up. He puts it in reverse. Okay? And he's racing down the freeway in reverse. Okay? For a quarter of a mile. And ultimately ends up slamming his vehicle headfirst into a police car.
Yeah, he really wanted back in.
Yeah, and they took him out felony style.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
On that one, but
what does that mean?
On his belly with a foot on his neck. Yeah.
But what's interesting is this guy Joseph Darling was just previously released under the AB 109 Governor Brown's Prisoner Realignment Program. Okay? So he was a product of that realignment program.
But do we blame Brown, though, or do we blame the court system?
No, you blame the nutcase in the car that was an idiot.
Well, I mean, but he's released. He should have been, by all rights, still in jail.
Well, we don't know what the original charge was. What was the original charge? Did he not serve the appropriate amount of time?
No, he was released on the prisoner realignment thing.
But what was the crime, is what I'm saying.
Previously?
Yeah.
Narcotics.
So maybe he should have went his behind to rehab. Maybe he was on a trip.
Transfusion. Something. But that's the problem.
We can't blame Governor Brown for someone else continuously making bad choices for themselves.
No, it's the court that's saying that he has to turn them loose before their time. That's what I'm pointing the finger at.
Turn them loose to the street when you know they got a drug problem? I mean, if he was selling drugs, that's one thing. But if he's got a drug problem and he got to the point where he was committing crimes to sustain his drug problem, the last thing he needs to be is on the street again.
Yeah.
I understand.
But
that is the problem. And between now and December, they have to kick loose 10,000 prisoners.
Well, I told you, white collars. There's enough of them out there. Just, stamp felony on them, and that just kills you for the rest of your life. You can't get a job after that anyway. So just let the white collars out and let them be.
Well,
what about the talk of private prisons? I know
there
Brown
has been
talk about that.
And there still is talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Who's paying for that, though?
Just take all these empty storefronts and just...
Oh, God.
He's got empty buildings all over town.
He's out of control.
Yeah,
just put big security doors in the front.
No, honey, don't go in that door. That's where the prisoners are.
I understand.
But you lock it up good. Put caution tape around it.
And part of the problem with the Antelope Valley is the fact that for all of L.A. County, we are the only area that has a prison.
Yeah.
Okay? In the entire county of 88 cities.
Yeah.
Is just up here in the Antelope Valley. And that compounds the problem.
Well, nobody cares about us. We're the stepchildren of California.
Ourselves.
No, we all care.
Outside of here, nobody does.
They smacked it there because it wasn't a lot of protest. Because apparently, I'm assuming, I guess I should say I'm assuming, there wasn't a lot of protest. They thought...
Well, it was in the boonies when it was
built.
built.
Jobs is coming.
Right. Well, there was nothing here.
Yeah, there was nothing out there.
Just dirt roads.
Yeah.
And an airstrip.
Mm-hmm.
And that was pretty much it. Obama was in town yesterday.
Yes, he was.
Yep. Tying up traffic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everywhere.
Yep. That's how
Did you watch the Tonight Show?
And then, no, I did not. And then this morning, he formally announced that he is canceling his visit with Russian President Putin.
Yes,
he did.
Over Snowden.
Yep. Well, he should.
Yeah.
But we need to be sending some Americans over there.
Just the good kind.
Assets?
Yeah.
Really?
For some wet works.
With camel rifles?
Yeah, it's
Or
it's
white
ridiculous.
rifles?
I mean, I don't.
Or
I don't
umbrellas
even get
with special tips.
Yeah. Well,
A little rising. Yeah.
personally, I don't think it looks good for us to cancel a trip.
it. Oh, please.
No, I
They should
I
let
don't.
that boy go. I mean, really. He's one man, and they should have sent his behind right back on a private jet.
Mm-hmm.
You go home and deal with your stuff.
Yeah.
You want to be big man on campus? I want America to know. Then why are you in Russia?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's there because he thought he was going to be killed.
Well, then you should have shut up.
See, Angie just got.
I'm
she
with
just
you.
puts
I mean,
it just the way that it is.
That's just what it was.
Just the
I
way
mean,
that
some
it is.
Getting all
jobs,
Republican
you
on
know, no, some jobs, every job, I won't even say some jobs, there's going to be information in your workplace that is not privy to everybody, and you're supposed to keep that.
Well, like our guest yesterday was saying, she works for a PVC company, and they don't allow the cell phones in there because of industrial espionage.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Come on.
Really?
that's a PVC company.
Well, there you have it. In a minute, we're going to bring on
Sprinkler pipes.
In a minute, we're going to bring on a guest on the show right after this break.
Yes.
And this is really interesting. I'm looking forward to this.
You.
Yeah, we all are. He's a local author. His
Yes.
name is Stephen Hemmert.
Yeah.
He wrote a book called Dating and the 50-Year-Old Man, True Stories of a Middle-Aged Man's Quest for Romance and Love in Today's World.
I hope it has a happy ending.
It's either got to be really funny or really sad.
What do you mean?
It has to. What do you mean?
Why wouldn't it be touching
I think I
and
could have written
romantic
one of these
and-
chapters.
No, I don't think
No,
so.
you wouldn't have
'cause
written one of these.
No,
You're
you
not
wouldn't.
after anybody.
Yeah.
Oh,
This is
come
no, her
on.
hair has got...
This is
that
abstinence
blonde
in the
her hair?
50-year-old
Oh,
man.
No, I can't. Is that a woman? A real woman? Oh, no, I can't have
Oh,
that.
we're in big
Well,
trouble.
she's got
All
her
right.
hair out of place. She must be
Yeah,
nuts.
exactly.
Yep.
All right.
She's crazy.
Let's take a break, and we'll be back. You're listening to AV
She grows
Newscast
her
on
hair.
NewsTalk Radio 1380.
The staff and families at Advanced Transportation take this time out to recognize and salute the men and women in uniform, standing tall for our freedom around the world. Let's always remember to keep them in our thoughts and prayers. Their efforts abroad and our support has kept America strong. That's courtesy of Lynn, his family, and staff at Advanced Transportation, located at 45310 Trevor Avenue in Lancaster. They're always working to keep our community moving in a positive direction. Give them a call at 661-273-7400. That's 661-723-7400.
Aging for Life is about you. We'll talk about news you can use, community events, seniors, families, and family members who help care for seniors. We'll talk with professionals in the healthcare industry and the senior community about senior-oriented education and issues. We'll have guests and panel discussions on topics that affect all of us, and we'll open the phones for your questions and input. Aging for Life is about you. 7:30 a.m. Wednesday, right here on NewsTalk 1380.
There's a school in Palmdale that's become the talk of the town. It's called the Guidance Charter School, and many parents say it's magical. The Guidance Charter School is WAS certified, scored 783 in academic performance, and has an educational curriculum that exceeds what the state of California recommends. The curriculum is enriched through age-appropriate exposure for information technology, arts, foreign language such as Arabic, and physical education. The Guidance Charter School is now going to have a full CIF sports program with soccer, basketball, track, cheerleading, and more. They're an open enrollment school, publicly funded, and have been in business for 12 years, fully approved by Palmdale School District. The Guidance Charter School has small class sizes such as 20 students in grades K through 3, 25 in 4 through 8, and just 30 students in grades 9 through 12. Call the Guidance Charter School in Palmdale today at 661-272-1701. That's the Guidance Charter School in Palmdale, 661-272-1701. And check out their website at thegcs.org, a better high school choice.
Welcome back to AVNewsCast.com on NewsTalk 1380.
You know, I'm really looking forward to this. Do we have Stephen on the line?
Stephen?
Hello.
Hi.
Oh,
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
We're good.
We're doing great, and I want to welcome you to the show. Thanks for coming on.
Well, thank you for having me.
So you wrote a book, and I looked at some of the reviews, and they were hugely popular.
Yep.
Now, this book may be right up my alley.
Oh.
I don't know, Steve.
Okay.
No, apparently you have to be looking for this book to be right up your alley.
You have to be open for a relationship, Steve.
I do look, but there's a lot of psycho people out there.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Well said.
Okay.
Well said.
I mean, it's. We were just talking about one off the air, and I said I'd run if I saw her at a crosswalk.
He doesn't
Stephen,
know anything about it.
You were married for 16 years, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that marriage ended, and then you went on the dating scene.
Yeah, there was actually a little bit, Steve, in between. I was married for 16 years, and then didn't date for about a year and a half because I wanted to sort of give my kids stability, and because the divorce, the reason divorce happened was a myriad of reasons, but one of them was that my wife had found someone else. And so it is what it is, and again, you do everything you can to keep the kids as together and focused as you can, and we were good about that. But the reality of it was that she had already found another partner. For a year and a half, I didn't date at all, and then right off, I guess because I wasn't looking to date, I met someone straight away that we were together for 5 years.
Okay.
Wow.
So in reality, of about 23 and a half years, I was with two women, 21 years of my life. And so the book sort of picks up or takes off. It became memoirs. It started out as memoirs of just my experience of getting back out in the dating scene after 21 years of being with only two women in my life. And you said something a little earlier that there's a lot of crazies or psychos out there, and it's so true. And that's what I wanted to paint the picture in my book, is not bad images of people, but just what I experienced.
You know, you and I are roughly the same age, and you know, I hope none of the listeners take this wrong, but you know, at a certain age, the women that you meet or that I meet only want a couple of things.
What is that, Steve?
You know,
what is that, Steve?
But I mean, right after the first, I see the toothbrush coming into the house after the first date, and they've already got a bag in the trunk. I mean, I'm already in trouble. Okay,
Right.
I got to lock and bolt the door. Okay, really?
Well, then you shouldn't be playing.
Yeah. Okay. Stephen, how did you
Go to church and meet a nice girl. Where are you meeting these
I'm
women?
curious, Stephen, when you're dating a woman, are you dating for fun, or are you dating for, you know, whatever your happily ever after is?
I hope you're talking to the author, right?
I said his name.
You know, I think it started out, I have to be very, very honest about this. It started out that I wanted or needed to get back out in the dating scene just to see what was available. And to be honest, I'm not a person. I'm a very social person. I do sales as professional living, so I'm one of those people that love to be around people and all that. So I had to get back out there. My heart was in a place where I need to get back out there, get back on the saddle, you know, on the horse, as they say, and test the waters and the environment. And I did that. After a period of time, though, Angelina, you get to a point where you do want to settle down. You do want to find someone important to share your truest moments with and your heart with. And it's really impossible when you're just doing a lighthearted dating situation.
I know I liked you, Stephen.
Okay. Well, you know, what was amazing for me and why the book kind of came about, if I could just say this real quickly, is that once I got back out in the dating scene, I started making notes of each date I went on, the good things about it, the not so good things about it, the things I didn't understand, whether, you know, it'd be the woman's actions or reactions to things. And when I started writing these down, I had a playwright friend from New York visit me, and I showed her my little memoirs about dates I'd been going on. She says, "Oh my gosh, she read a couple," and she goes, "This has to be a book, because Stephen, you're not the only one out there going through this. Thousands of people, especially middle age, you know, 40 to 60, are back out there trying to make sense of this crazy world of dating, and your book is perfect for that." And again, it's not a cure-all. It doesn't tell you how to date, when to date, who to date. It's just my experiences that other people seem to vibe with. They just call me up and say, "Oh my God, this happened to me too." So
you created this Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, right?
Yeah, I just typed in bar graph and showed it.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a
And I
pie
wasn't
chart.
even that high tech. I just had the old silly notes on the side of my bed, in a book. But,
Is it really as dire a situation as Steve portrays it to be?
well, you
'Cause,
know,
I mean, if you talk to him,
I hear from women too, because a lot of I really thought this would be a man's book. To be honest with you guys, I thought it would be guys saying, "Oh, finally, a guy's perspective on what's going on out there." Because there's Sex in the City, which was primarily a show focused for women and what was going on in their sex lives and intimacy wise. And there wasn't really anything out there, nor many books written by men that said, "Hey, here's what's going on there from a guy's perspective." So I originally thought this book would be 80% men, 20% women. I was totally wrong. Women have called me up and say, "I love your book so much. I've known some of my friends that acted like this or do this to guys." And so it's turned the other way around. It's about 60 to 70% women that read this book and the rest are guys. And is it that dire? Well, if you talk to the women who call me up and say that, wow, I've experienced that, the reverse. Guys that can't seem to find someone. A friend of mine is in psychological counseling right now because of some things that happened with a woman he was with.
Oh, I know that.
She was
Yeah,
a
There's
stalker.
stalkers out there.
She was a stalker, wasn't
Mess
she?
your head up. Yep.
I know it.
And there are, I mean, the book goes chapter, if I can explain a little bit about it, kind of goes chapter by chapter. Each woman has her own chapter.
Wow.
Now I know
44 lines,
Each
about
woman
88 women.
has her
That's
own
a song.
chapter. And which chapter did you like the most?
Well, you know what? I have to tell you, the thing is, I think you'd only care they have their own chapter. They had a lot of influence in me writing it, so they might as well have their own chapter. And, of course, the names have changed, and the places that we went to, the names are changed. Now, if you're a Santa Claritian or someone who knows this area very well, there's a few of the places that the action took place, so to speak, that you would go, oh, I know that place. And the women who would read the book, or friends of mine or theirs, might read the book and automatically say, that was, you who know who. And, again, the names were changed and everything, but each chapter is dedicated to each woman. And I also, in the book, because I'm a local winemaker, I make wine at the Reyes Winery in Agua Dulce, and I make wine for myself and Le Chien French cuisine.
Mm-hmm.
And so each woman also ties into or has the, the moniker, if you would, of what wine or grape varietal I most believed her to resemble.
Okay. Now, I did see your YouTube interview, and you mentioned the aggressiveness of the women that you were exposed to or dated. Will you expound on that a little bit more?
Well, yeah. One that comes to mind that's in the book is Gabby. And Gabby, I met her at a very nice wine bar in town. Simply introduced myself, said I thought she was very pretty. I go to the bathroom, come back, she grabs my arm.
Hey.
Says, sit down with me. I said, well, I can't. I'm with friends on this. She goes, well, bring your friend. I said, no, he's a married guy, and he doesn't want to be caught with two single women sitting there. And she wouldn't really take no for an answer. And I said, well, no, I really can't. She finally, at the end of the night, gave me her card. And she was a nice gal, and we went out a couple of times, again, to have dinner and hear music. And then one night, she said, I don't want to go home. The kids are with their father. I don't want to go home. There's nothing to do in Santa Clarita. As you guys probably in high desert the same way after 11:30 midnight.
Roll the streets up. Yeah.
Exactly. So I was hungry. She was hungry. I said, well, why don't we go to my house? I'll make dinner, and you drive separately. That way she can leave when she wants to leave.
Here comes trouble.
Here comes trouble. And it was good trouble, but it was trouble. So I come and I pour her a glass of my own wine. It's a late September evening, and I start a fire because my house is cold, and I go to change into a
painting
sweatshirt.
A word picture. I'm
sure
seeing all this.
Yeah. I'm trying to paint this as good as possible. And then after I go and change my shirt into a sweatshirt, because again it was getting cold, I come back and she's sitting nude in front of the fireplace.
Wow.
Oh dear!
And
on the bearskin rug. Yep.
Guys, I'm sitting there going, what do I do? Now, I mean, you're going, well,
really?
Of course, sometimes your intuition tells you what to do, but I was really dumbfounded because I said, I kind of like this gal. This is only our second full date, because, the first time we met was just vicariously, and here we are, a second full date, and she's sitting nude in front of the fireplace.
Is she about your age too, Stephen?
She was in her 40s. Her kids were young teenagers.
Right.
I'd be like, what's the combination on that gun safe?
Right. See, she wasn't wasting any time because in the trunk was a ball and chain.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it sounds so double standard, though, because on one hand, that's every man's dream. There was no work involved. And then on the other hand, you're scared of what it's going to be afterwards. You have no idea. She could have just wanted to, you know, do what a lot of guys want to do, just have some fun and go on about her life. Although, you know, the way you described her before that, I would be a little cautious about.
Okay. You could see that look in the eye.
But don't leave me hanging here, Stephen. Finish the.
Go ahead.
Well, okay. Well, basically, what transpired is I sat down next to her and I said, you know, I said, "Are you comfortable?" She goes, "Oh, I'm very comfortable." And she says, "But you don't look comfortable."
Here it comes.
Oh boy!
And I kind of went, "No, I'm fine. I'm fine."
I'm
now,
good.
An hour or two later, there was a different situation. But you know, I have to say that I fell into her charms and things like that. But again, what struck me was just the immediacy of everything, and that's kind of what the common thread in my book is the aggressiveness of women. Not waiting for the guy to make the suggestion that they be intimate, not for the guy to make the suggestion to even ask them out. It's really different in the world from dating when I was 29 or 26 when I first moved to Los Angeles, versus now. Women do not wait for anyone to ask them. They ask as much as men, from my perspective. Mm-hmm. I've been asked out as much as I've asked women out. And as far as the sexual prowess of women, it's completely different. You know, I grew up in Oklahoma, sort of treat women with dignity and like they were queens and princesses, and then earn that trust.
Yeah.
And earn that relationship. That doesn't really much exist anymore.
Well, it just depends. I think it depends on, you know, your experience and your exposure, because I have a group of friends that are very traditional. Mm-hmm. And we are turned off by the aggressiveness and the, okay, it's been the second date, why aren't we going to the next stage? And I'm like, I don't know what book you're reading, but we're not interested in that. So, you know, I guess it really just does depend on where you are and what you're exposed to.
No, women above 40 use barbed hooks, okay? I'm telling you.
He's out of control.
I'm telling you, okay?
I don't use barbed hooks.
Okay, are you kidding me? Now, Stephen, did you end up in a relationship with her after this date?
Well, that's a great thing. We, again, because of the aggressiveness of it, Steve and guys there, that I really took it very much like, well, let's date, but I didn't at that one particular time, because this was right after my last relationship ended, you know, the one in 5 years, so my heart really wasn't in that place anyway. But at the same time, I didn't like the overall aggressiveness of it.
Yeah,
so
your role was removed.
We took it very, very slow. And I say slow, meaning that I didn't want to commit to anything. I couldn't, because in good conscience I couldn't. However, Angelina, you brought this up before, or alluded to this, is that what was very interesting about it was I thought in the beginning she just wanted to play and have a good time, because after all, she's in her mid-40s, she's got kids that go away every other weekend, so she just wants to have an experience. And women sexually these days are a lot more open to the potentiality of a one-night stand or a two-night stand or whatever, and not getting so committed. And this woman was a professional woman, by the way, so she had a very nice job with a very large company and made good money. So she didn't need me for that, so there wasn't that need or requirement there. However, after about 6 months of sort of seeing each other and going out, have a good time, she was a fun gal, intellectually and every other way. She sit me down and she said, I love you, and I want a relationship.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I wasn't.
And this is my ring size.
Yeah. Oh, that's the thing. It's like it started out to be maybe on her side, just playing around and having a good time, which there's nothing wrong with that. The reality of it is only a few months later she sat down and said, no, I want this to be something.
Yeah, because women are not built like that. Women are not built for casual relationships, regardless to how they start it. At the end result, you know, if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, it's going to end up, you know, completely involved.
Yeah, they're nesting. They want to, you know.
They are. Hey, Stephen, will you hang on for a second?
Sure,
we have to take a quick break just for 2 minutes, and we'll be right back. Will you stay with us?
Absolutely. Thank you
All
so
right,
much.
just a second. You're listening to AV Newscast on NewsTalk Radio 1380. This is a great show. We'll be right back.
It's fair time, and that means the Rally Kia Arena Event Series is back with the Figure 8 Race and Rural Olympics Fireworks Show. The Figure 8 Car Race, sponsored by Allstate Cullen Insurance, is on Military Appreciation Day, sponsored by Budweiser, Thursday, August 22nd. All active and retired military and their dependents with ID get into the fair and see the Figure 8 Race for free on August 22nd. The Rural Olympics, sponsored by Calandry Sunrise Farms, is on Saturday, August 24th. Rural Olympics competitions include hay loading and stealing, tractor races, and even an antique car potato race. After the Rural Olympics is a fireworks show. The Figure 8 Race and Rural Olympics are free events with paid fair admission. Buy a $6 admission ticket at AV Albertsons, Superior Grocers, Vallarta, and Vaughn Supermarkets until August 15th. For all fair information, go to avfair.com.
Hi, folks. I'm Chuck Simons, a realtor with Keller Williams. Are you finding yourself buried in your house payment, completely stressed out, and don't know what to do? Please listen to what I'm about to tell you. First, understand that you are not the only one that's having problems. Many folks in the Antelope Valley are going through the same thing. What's most important right now is that you take control. Just because you've been turned down for a loan modification or received a notice of default doesn't mean you can't be in control. You own the property still. You can be in control, and I can help. I know how stressful it is. I know what it is to be in the dark on this. I've helped a lot of people in the Antelope Valley, but you have to take action. Call me, Chuck Simons, at 661-350-1006. I want to help you. My team and I will meet with you for free, and we'll go over your options. Don't just sit back, bury your head, and lose your house to foreclosure. I can help you, but you have to call. 661-350-1006. Together, we'll draw up a roadmap to relieving the stress. Just because you're not able to make the payments on your house doesn't mean you don't have options. You do. I can and I will help you negotiate a short sale with your bank. I'll explain all the benefits and how you can rebuild your credit. Call me, Chuck Simons, at 661-350-1006. Let's solve your problems together today.
Welcome back to AVNewsCast.com on NewsTalk 1380.
Stephen, are you still with us?
I am here.
Yay!
Oh, perfect. We just had a caller that called in that she didn't want to come on air but wants to know if you're doing a book tour because she's got a barbed hook, too.
Oh, wow.
Hey! you
I'm
don't know
kidding.
that.
I'm kidding.
He's really out of control,
No,
Stephen.
I know you had done some book signings at Barnes & Noble's.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, the caller wanted to know if you had anything coming up.
I don't right now. To give you a little background on the book, it was self-published. I was seeking a publisher, and I still am to a degree, but instead of waiting like so many people, other people I know have written books, waiting to find a publisher before they have the book out there, some of them wait forever, and it never happens. So I self-published this through a thing called CreateSpace, which is part of Amazon.com. It's a self-publishing outfit, if you would. And so I am planning things in the future, but they're kind of onesie-twosies here and there as they come along. Unfortunately, guys, just so you know, that Barnes & Noble used to allow local artists or authors to do book signings. I was the last one granted that privilege back in January of this year. They no longer do it. Their philosophy is if it's not stocked at each and every store, you cannot do a book signing. So that's kept a lot of local authors and things from being able to do that. I will say, though, I'm continuing to promote the book, not only on Facebook, but I'm also hooking up with a firm to help me get it out there more on the Internet and other spots. And I've started book 2, which is about 60, 70 pages in. So I wish I could tell you my story and my adventure ended with the first book, but it doesn't.
Oh. But this, writing these books and the experiences is like it's a real-time thing, you know?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
so...
It's cathartic. It definitely is. But you know what it does, too, and I have to be very honest here, I'm a spiritual guy. I'm not a super religious person and go to particular churches or anything, but I'm a very spiritual person, and I do meditate daily and things like that. And one of the things that came out of this book is my own idiosyncrasies, my own faults, if you would, or self-reflection. Is that the book really taught me a lot about myself. And when I talk about these women in the book, again, there's no blame put towards them at all, because I partook in it, which means, I have 50% of the responsibility.
Absolutely.
And so it's not about, look at these guys, look what they did to me. It's not I'm a victim book. It really is. I went through this. I was kind of amazed by it. Hopefully, by the end of this book, I've learned more about myself, more about women, and more about, romance and love in general. And so it was a big journey for me, a spiritual journey, emotional journey, and many other ways, a physical journey as well. And like I say at the end of the book, I wish I could tell you it was all done and I found the perfect woman at that time.
Oh, you didn't?
But I didn't.
Oh.
No.
I thought you would...
But you are looking to, if you could find the right person, you're looking to get married again. Well,
yeah, and I to give a little ray of hope, if I may, you very early on, you guys said something about you have to be looking, right? That you have to be out there looking for someone to be able to find them. I kind of want to tell you that I kind of believe that you don't have to be, and here's why: is that the woman I wound up meeting, who I'm crazy in love with, and who's been an amazing person in my life over the last 7 to 8 months, I met while doing something with my book. At a film festival, taking it to a producer of a film festival, and wound up meeting a woman vicariously I never planned on meeting, never went to meet. It wasn't one of those things where I went to go date someone or meet a friend of a friend. I just met this woman vicariously. We didn't say more than 10 or 12 words together at the time. We talked on the phone for 2 and 3 hours at a time. The intimacy didn't happen until 3 or 4 or 5 months down the road.
Good job.
And so when I wasn't looking,
it hit you in the face. Exactly.
Well, I met the love of my life after I'd given up. So,
well, there you go.
So Steve is right on the cusp then, because he's given up.
Who, me? Me? You're swinging at air too, Angelina.
Oh.
Okay, so I don't want to hear that. Okay. Did you, Stephen, out of curiosity, did you find there must have been some really nutty chicks out there?
Well, I have a story, and I'll tell it to you in a super condensed form. I met this gal through a friend of mine, and went and had a drink with her one night, a glass of wine, and she was a very beautiful French woman. She was half black, half white, just stunning looking. We had a great conversation, and I invited her to go to dinner with me a week later. And I pick her up, and as we're driving, she starts acting sort of strange. And I said, "Are you okay?" She goes, "I'm just hungry." So we get to the restaurant. And as we get to the restaurant, we're having dinner with my friends, and there's a whole gaggle of us, so to speak. And all of a sudden, she goes, "Do you hear it?" And I said, "Hear what?" She goes, "The helicopter."
Oh, nice.
And I go, "A helicopter? No." So we continued in, and as I get ready to take her back to her car, she goes, "There it is again, the helicopter." And I go, "What?" And this time I heard one.
Oh.
So finally, as I'm getting her out of her car to her place, I go, "What do you keep mentioning the helicopter?" And she says, "Well, there's someone following me. He's a cop. I met this cop when my husband died." I said, "What? You met a cop when the husband died?" Because my husband died of a heart attack at the age of 42, and two of the policemen who came to the house, she fell in love with one of them. They exchanged numbers as she was dating him. But then she
body wasn't even cold.
I know. That's in my book. I said, "Oh my Lord!" She goes. So we started dating, but then I broke up with him when I found out he was married, and cops didn't make much money.
Oh,
there it is.
And I said, "Well, what has the helicopter got to do with all this crazy stuff?" He just told me. She goes, "He follows me everywhere. He follows me here. He has people follow me." He goes, "You know the bartender tonight at the restaurant?" Yeah, she goes, "He's not really a bartender. he's following me.
Oh, wow.
And I start looking at my watch and go, okay, I got to go.
That's one of the people I meet every day. Those are the people that are drawn to me. Oh.
Maybe it's the name Steve that does it. You ever think about that?
So she was just a nut.
Oh,
she was a loony.
Nut. And then she calls me about, after that I never dated her again. Needless to say, I don't know say why, but she then calls me up to tell me that she got fired from where she worked because her boss wanted her to smuggle heroin or something.
Oh, dear.
Wow.
I said, you work for a restaurant.
It was an appetizer. It was a new thing on the menu.
I met a gal when I was in the Navy, and she came over for dinner, and it was clear she wasn't going to leave. And at one point, when I wasn't paying attention, I caught her trying to snip a lock of hair off. I don't know what she was going to do with that.
Well, she was going.
I'm telling you,
get you.
By the end of it, I ended up pushing her out the apartment door with my foot and chucking a can of cream corn at her to get her down the stairs. It was awful. I know just what you're talking about.
Well, it's scary. I mean, I have to just be honest, because when I got married at a younger age, in my late 20s, my wife and I had exactly the same birthday. We were both Scorpios. We thought the same way. We were like the best of friends. And so for 16 years, I really didn't have any experiences with women, especially from a dating perspective. And then instantly, I met a woman I was with for 5 years that I love deeply, and we're still great friends to this day. So it was such a shock, Steve, to get back out there and experience it, just like the things that you're talking about and I'm alluding to. And again, they weren't all violent, but there were a couple of violent women. I've never been hit in my life, even by a guy.
Wow.
But I've had a woman punch me in the face twice, throw a wine glass, and break it over my shoulder.
Oh.
But you know what comes to mind is...
I'd break my door shut.
Yeah, and you get right back in the cage and fight again.
Oh.
In the cage, Steve? In the cage.
The octagon.
Well, I learned the first thing, though, about this. You hear about those people that have husbands or wives that are alcoholics or drug addicts, and you kind of wonder how they keep going back when they're abusive. I guess this is God's lesson for me, and the universe's lesson for me, is that this is what it's like, because this woman was so alluring and beautiful and talented, and she was a Scorpio, the last one I was talking about, like I was. We had so much in common. But it's almost like turning on a light switch. The light switch would just go on and off, and she would change demeanor in an instant. And especially if she had a glass of wine or a couple of glasses of wine, the whole environment changed. And I learned for the first time what it's like to be in an abusive relationship.
Wow.
And it's scary, because you still love the person, and you still want to try to make this crazy thing work, knowing that you're going to get hurt, and in the process, somewhere down the road, she probably is too. Because you can't keep your temper locked up forever.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So I really see how hard it was, especially when you fall in love with their kids, too, how hard it is to pull away and stay away.
Well, it's rough when you drag kids into the equation.
Yeah, and when you're involved with a Looney Tune. But you know what struck me is that the girl that you mentioned, the French girl, didn't you say that you were set up with her from a friend?
Yes. And
what kind of friend is that?
Well, see, the friend, though, didn't know that she had these meltdowns either.
Wow.
She used to come into her restaurant, and she met with her a couple times and said she was beautiful. She was strikingly beautiful, but, that's kind of the first guy's impression as you look and say, well, is she attractive to me? Yes, she is, and then you go from there. And my first date with her was pretty. We talked about spirituality, religion. We talked about all these sort of things that had substance. And then voila, the next date, the only date after that, the total and complete meltdown.
Yeah, you can only keep the crazy in so long.
Yeah.
It's exactly. I call it, guys, in my book, the mask of happiness. The mask is kind of taped on, and we all have this, like Billy Joel said way back in the 80s, we have this mask that we wear, which ultimately has to fall off, and then the true person is exposed because you can't keep it on. It's a facade. So when this mask of happiness, as I call it in the book, falls off, then you see the true person. And the only time you can do that, some people expose themselves in a couple of dates, some don't expose themselves to 6 months later.
For women, it's insanity. In the first trimester of a relationship, we're really insane with what we hope is going to be forever after. And once we gain our sanity back and we can see you through clear eyes, that's when we start making adjustments and evaluations as to whether or not this is a viable relationship.
Yeah, just like a female scorpion.
Oh,
Yeah.
Something's wrong with my co-host.
Are you a little
Steve.
jaded?
He's been hurt bad.
Oof.
He's just not open, Steve.
I joke with Angelina all the time, Stephen, that if for a woman that's over 45 or 50, her chances of
I'm not over 45 or 50.
I didn't
your
say
mouth?
you were.
Oh.
I just joke that for a woman that's over 45 or 50 years old, her chances of getting remarried are less than getting hit with a lightning bolt.
He's out of control.
Okay.
I'll just remain silent on that one.
Misery loves company. That's all that is.
My God.
No. Now, question though, and we joke about this on the show as well. Did you find a lot of the women when you were dating that were out there were more interested or as interested in knowing about you as qualifying your last 3 years P&L statements before they moved to the next level?
Well, I guess I did run into a couple of women who, one that's going to be in book 2 that had not manifested itself yet in the first book, who I know beyond a shadow of doubt was interested in the fact that I had a decent home, drove a nice car, had a good job, and that 3 weeks into it, she actually told my brother and told 2 friends of mine that she loved me.
Uh-huh.
And right. I'm going, okay, no, this is too quick and everything else. So I started sort of listening more cautiously to what she would say about her past. I would ask her questions. Well, what about your last boyfriend, this and that? I pieced it together that in reality, she'd been with an attorney who made a ton of money, an entertainment attorney, who kept her, so to speak. Even though she didn't live with him because he was going through a divorce, she was kept in her little place in Santa Monica.
Her gilded cage.
In Santa, did she have blonde hair? I think I know her.
Wow.
Trust me, there's enough on that there. You can find them.
Lived in the Venice Canal? Yeah. Go ahead.
It wasn't too far from there, but but the thing is that she kept saying to me after about 4 or 5 weeks that we were dating that I really want to come live with you and everything. I said, listen, you live in Santa Monica because she used to be an actress and a model, where all the action is.
That already tells you you're in trouble. Yeah,
exactly. It does. It should have been the warning sign. But she says to me, well, no, but I love where you live and all this stuff. Well, I did a little background and research, and unfortunately you have to do that these days, especially if you have the idea that there's something not quite kosher. I did a little background on her, talked to some of her friends, stuff that I'd met. And it turned out she was losing her apartment because the boyfriend that broke up with her in Malibu cut her money off.
Yeah.
And her acting days were over, her modeling days were over, and so she was living off whatever she had in the bank, and that was it. And that was her modus operandi for wanting to move in with me. Every guy would love to say a beautiful model was, would love, you'd like to feel good that she cares about you, so you think. But the reality of it was she just wanted a place to live.
What a surprise.
Yeah.
They're not all like
really
that, Steve. They're good women out there, too, Steve.
Oh, absolutely. I found one. But, the reality of it is that, and by the way, I kind of have something to say here real quick, is that people ask me, well, where'd you meet these women? I have people say, where'd you meet them at, in a bar somewhere or, in a trash can? I go, no, I've met these women at Rubio's. I've met these women at a nice wine bar. I've met some on OK Cupid. I've met some on Plenty of Fish. I've met them on that. Pretty much any of the things that you see now going on, from dating scenes to just meeting people in daily life, that's where I met them.
To me, and I joke about this too, like Plenty of Fish, you might as well stand on a street corner with a sign.
That's a meat market, isn't it?
It turns out that it can be. I did meet one very nice gal in there who the synergy between us just wasn't there. So after about 2 or 3 days, it was called off. But again, some of the ones, including a woman in the book named Araceli, codename Araceli, is someone who I met at a restaurant that I service because I work in the restaurant industry, and all of a sudden I meet this gal, and we have a couple of really cool dates, and it just feels so harmonious and good. We seem to think the same way. And then meltdown time again. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, psychotic meltdown time to where I actually 4 or 5 days later was broken into.
Wow.
Oh, that happened to me, too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Had to call those sheriffs who lifted fingerprints, but none were something that they could identify anyone with. But I know it was her because, even though I live in a rural area, one of my neighbors was driving down Sierra Highway and saw this car coming down the road and called me and says, "Hey, so did you have someone over last night?" And I go, "No." Well, there's a white car driving down your driveway with a dark-haired woman inside at 8:30 in the morning, and I was long gone to work.
Oh.
Wow.
And so I come home and I just the pieces of the puzzle fell into place. But I didn't have enough proof to prove anything or to make any accusations.
I know it's not right to tell an artist how to do his work, but I got a suggestion for the next book. 'Cause you named them all after wines and stuff in the first one. Maybe you can go by size in the next one, and you can do like champagne bottles, like a Jeroboam. You can name her that. You know.
Okay.
He's out of control.
It's another theme on.
He's out of control. We should have warned you.
Your suggestion is better than one I got the other day. One of the guys called me up the other day and says, rank them by the type of beer they most resemble. And I go, well, first off, I'm not a real beer guy, but secondly, I'm taking it from wine down to beer. I can't do that.
Mm-hmm. No, now we're going to champagne now, see?
Yeah. There's a champagne girl in there, though. That's Jezebel, so you'll have to read that chapter.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, the book sounds great, and I'm actually going to get it and read it because the reviews were great, and I personally think I probably could have written half the chapters. Okay.
And you know what? But see, that's the whole thing. That's why the book hits a common thread. It's my story, but it ties into what so many other people have either gone through or are going through now. And so, it's like the misery loves company statement you made before. It's so true. So I think people would love to read it, not so much to say, oh, I could have done this better, I could have done this less, or whatever, but to read it and say, oh my God, this happened to me too. And
been there.
You should hear some of my stories. Now I've got women call me up saying, write our side of the story. And I go, well, that might be something down the road, but it's because they've got some crazy stories too, and they pull me aside and tell me these dates have been on, the dates from hell, or Star Trek date, or whatever they call them.
Nice.
And so there's the whole point is that what I'm experiencing, pretty much everyone in their middle ages that's out there dating are experiencing.
Yeah. What was Jack Nicholson's line in that film? How do you think like a woman? Take away reason and accountability.
Oh my God. He's out of control.
Stephen, it's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate you taking the time. I'm going to get a copy of the book. And you know what? Now that I've got your number, I'm going to call you. And next time I'm down near your area, maybe we'll have lunch.
Yeah, absolutely great. And if I could throw a little tag in there for it, too, it's available at Amazon.com. It's the easiest way to find it is to search Stephen Hemmert, StephenHemmert. If you just put in dating the 50-year-old man, everything with dating, everything with 50, everything with man pops up. Thousands of books. But here's what I love to say is that when you call up Stephen Hemmert on Amazon, you'll see the Kindle and you'll see the paperback, and of course you'll see the reviews for them. And on the Kindle, you're able to thumb through some of the channels. But I love to say this: when you call up my name, I'm right above Stephen King.
Ooh.
Oh.
So take that, Stephen.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well,
have a wonderful day.
Thank you guys
Stephen.
for having me. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
You too.
You too.
All right, bye-bye.
Yeah, this book is going to be fun to read.
Yeah.
There's no question about it. Well, we're almost
Well, I
out
hope
of
you
time.
read it and take something from it.
Yeah. Okay. Look who's talking. Okay. All right.
Oh.
We're almost done. Thanks for listening to us today. You're listening to AVNewsCast on NewsTalk Radio 1380, and we'll be back tomorrow morning.